I call this meeting of the Student Government Senate to order at 6 p.m. on March 1st. We'll begin with a roll call, starting with Senator Agba, Senator Becker, Senator Braun, Acting Speaker Bruick,
Present.
Senator Burks, Senator Cecil, Senator Dre, Senator Eisma, Senator Engelken, Senator Eaton, Senator Frencher, Senator Gopa, Senator Hackbarth, Heidenreich, Holliday, Kamstra, Kuehler, Margaret, Mays, Moskar, Patel, Schnepf, Slade, Slater, Tansey, Topete, and Vo. With that, we have quorum. We'll now move into the Pledge of Allegiance with Speaker Bruick.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll now move into a program from the Iowa State Daily. Just a reminder, Senators, please close your laptops during this time. We will let them present, and then we will have questions afterwards.
Hello, everybody. My name is Catherine Keeley. Or Kate, you can call me Kate. Use she, her pronouns, and I'm the editor-in-chief of the Iowa State Daily. Just wanted to thank everyone for having us here today. So starting off, the Iowa State Daily serves as your local source of news and entertainment, as well as a campus record and watchdog for students. While working to fulfill those roles, we also supply students of all majors with an external educational experience, one that will help them get internships and eventually jobs. The Daily is completely student-run. All content and publishing decisions are determined by your peers with the goal of providing news for students by students. The Daily is a unique creature to this campus in that we are a student organization, but we are an affiliate of the university. We are also a 501c3 nonprofit organization, making us the only entity on campus with these three designations. A little bit about the Iowa State Daily structure. While the content decisions are determined by our student staff, we have a chain of command so that what our staff reports to ensure we function as a well-run publication that properly covers the campus. We are run by a volunteer publication board made up of students, faculty, and staff from Iowa State, as well as professional industry experts. Student government and GPSS also have ex officio seats on our board. The editorial council is a committee that offsets the board and oversees our content and provides student feedback so we know what the students want and need from the Daily. It is essentially a voting focus group. It consists of one student from every college at Iowa State, as well as a faculty member or staff member from the Greenlee School of Journalism. The student editor-in-chief makes all the decisions at the Iowa State Daily, but the professional staff is there to advise, help manage finances, oversee our website, create partnerships on campus, as well as manage our technology such as our website and MailChimp account, and handle legal issues while managing our contracts. They also advise us on ethical as well as the rules of journalism. Ethical issues as well as the rules of journalism. We'd like to thank student government for acknowledging the importance of having an independent and accessible source of local news for students through our 13-year contract that we've had. Our contract began in 2010 and lasted until 2019 when we switched to the student fee for 1 year, and then we went back to the contract in 2020. A little bit about our contract. It's 5 years and we're currently in the middle of year 3. The amount was raised in 2020 to ensure the Daily could continue supplying our services, but these dollars were not taken from other student organizations, but instead came through the conversion of our student fee we had. Our current contract accounts for $340,000, which makes up a third of our budget. It also includes a clause that grants the Daily with a presentation to speak before the Senate regarding our financial breakdown of these dollars and how we are continuing to follow through on our contractual obligation. One of these contractual obligations would be our news tips. So our website has a widget that allows anyone to submit news to our staff. In the past year, we received 47 news tips. It's available at any time of the day, and you can just access it at the top of our website. So since we're competing with statewide publications such as the Des Moines Register, the Cedar Rapids Gazette, and the Daily Iowan, we have to teach our staff to the same standards. Therefore, we train our staff year-round with the bulk of our training at the beginning of the year. We get students from all majors, and so we prep them so they can leave college with an additional education and skills that they can apply in addition to their major while providing this campus with a world-class product. Every Monday through Saturday of the year-round academic calendar, the Daily sends out a newsletter filled with breaking news, briefs, in-depth articles, photo galleries, podcasts, and more to over 30,000 emails. Our analytics for the Daily Dose range from about an average of a 35% open rate, with usually a once-a-week high of 40 to 47%. About our staff. We have approximately 75 staff members, and of that, 17 of those are editors who do receive a compensation through a monthly stipend. Our stipend is meant to reward our editors for the round-the-clock work they do and hopes to aid with the cost of living, but it does not equate to the hours work. Our staff who works the most hours, which range from 30 to 40 hours a week, are paid anywhere from $350 to $450 a month. Our advisor is also paid through this contract, and our president, as well as our part-time advertisement director, is partially paid through the contract. While we are a student-run paper, it is important to have a professional staff and a team of advisors that we can turn to when we have general everyday questions, as well as running into illegal or ethical questions. Like many groups on campus, we did see attrition to our participation, but are coming back from the loss we saw during COVID. Another key part of our contract is creating partnerships across campus. We've recently teamed up with Green Dot to provide free advertisement for their sexual assault prevention trainings. We've had a partnership with ISUPD to create their annual reports, and we recently started working with student government as well as the Division of Student Affairs to create a resource website for the Iowa State and Ames community. So examining our revenue. Since the rise of social media, the news industry has seen a steady decline in ad revenue, resulting in the death of many local newsrooms across the country, and the Daily is not isolated to this. But when COVID-19 hit small businesses, the Daily's main source of revenue was severely impacted. So as a result, we had to make cuts. The Daily is now down to 2 full-time professional staff members that now work in the capacity that was once 6. Fortunately, our editorial stipend was not cut, but we have found our editors are still working 1 to 2 jobs to keep up with the cost of living, and we've had multiple reporters say they can't work due to the lack of compensation they receive. So the funding allocated by student government is broken up into 3 categories. That would be personnel, cost of goods, and our operation. Beginning with our cost of goods. So the cost of goods account for our special publications and make up 8% of the allocated funds from student government. Special publications include the Welcome Back magazine we do, the Renter's Guide, as well as our new edition of Cloneworthy. It also supports our MailChimp subscription and Getty Images. The second category is personnel, which makes up 67% of student government's allocated funding. And of that 67%, just under half goes to the student payroll. 20% of that allocated funding for personnel goes to our professional staff. And the last 2 categories are used for scholarship and internships, which makes up 3.4%. And finally, our operating expenses, which equates to 25% of the allocated funds from student government. This includes our ad management software, telephone and data, as well as industry dues that we have, as well as our accounting consultant, taxes, and then insurance. I can't stress how important this funding is to the sustainability of student journalism at ISU. More than 80% of college media businesses are supplemented by student fees or university grants. For example, the University of Iowa allocates $17.60 per student per year for their student publication. While times have changed in the news industry, your support has allowed our students to continue doing the work they do every day. As times have continued to change too, we've worked to listen to your input. We've evolved our model significantly to a complex business model based on students' needs. We no longer follow the traditional linear model where a newspaper is our only outlet. Our journalists use podcasts, social media, in addition to articles, and our clone-worthy print publication to reach various audiences. This transition to supplying information through multiple platforms provides students with many options to get their news they need based on what's best for them. The downside to this model, it does result in more fragmented revenues for our business. At the end of the day, it's the Daily's job to serve students with vital information and so they can make informed decisions about their everyday lives. The Iowa State Daily is not only an essential service to all majors in jumpstarting their careers, but it's a necessity to this campus to ensure Iowa State has an independent eye reporting on the needs and accomplishments of our community. The Daily can serve as an employment opportunity to students, allowing them to not only support themselves, but make themselves more appealing to employers. The Iowa State Daily is striving to reflect and record what is happening in this campus in real time. We appreciate your continued support to this service and look forward to continuing producing this essential product. Thank you. I'll now take questions. I don't know if I get to say that.
All right. Senator Kamstra.
Hi, first of all, thank you for the presentation. This was amazing because I try to read the Daily Dose and I love reading the different articles. Most of those on the screen I've read myself. I have a question about actually printing newspapers. So I saw, I think, a singular newspaper printed. I don't know if it was this semester or last semester. But I was wondering if you guys are trying to get back to printing newspapers?
That's a good question. So we're trying to find a good balance because we have gotten mixed feedback of students wanting a print publication, but then we also found the daily publication was tend to be left around pretty frequently. So we're in the process of bringing back like a monthly production. It's quite a transition from our staff, especially since we've downsized in terms of making stories that are thorough enough because we want our clone-worthy publication to be more of our in-depth and strongest reporting. So we are bringing back a print publication. It's looking to be more of a monthly one. We're working on putting out our 3rd issue for this year. So.
Awesome. Sweet. Thank you.
Thank you for your question.
Yeah.
Senator Kuehler.
Thank you for coming out, Kate. I was just curious. I know you mentioned that you guys have a lot of different mediums you use to get your news out. I was wondering which one's the most popular, like that students like.
Yeah, so I would say definitely the Dose is like the kind of like natural one to go to, but in terms of for our sports content, our Facebook has over 30,000 followers and tends to track over, like especially for basketball and football, get over like 600 likes, 300 shares. So it kind of depends on the story. I'd say on the day-to-day average coverage, it would be the Dose, and that naturally draws them to our website. But in terms of more of those kind of like breaking stories, social media tends to be the better suited one because obviously the Dose comes out every morning. So social media tends to be more immediate for those kinds of stories.
All right. Thank you very much. I yield.
Thank you for your question.
Senator Slater.
So thank you for coming out, first of all. I really appreciate hearing about it. If you could, and this is just curiosity for me, could you go back to the slide that showed the revenue?
Sure.
I think it was the graph.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously everything went down, so I mean, this is nothing unusual. Do you happen to know, and I mean, maybe some other people here would know, but how much of an increase was the student government allocation to the Daily from the first original contract from 10 to 19 from 20 on?
I'll ask Sarah that exactly.
Yeah, I'm Sarah Lefevre. I'm the director of the Daily and right now temporary advisor too. Kit, maybe you would know for sure. I want to say it was 160 60, up until 2020, and then the student fee happened.
Yeah, I don't know the necessarily amounts, but I know that when they went to the fee originally, they had a little less than they do now, and then it flipped, and then they got into us, and now it's at 340.
And we could definitely supply those numbers. I just don't have them.
And I also
just
don't
me
have the
being
records
curious.
up either, so.
I want to say it was 160. The student fee took us up to around 600, and then now 340.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you for your question.
Yes, thank you.
Senator Copa?
Thank you for coming out, first of all. Where do you get most of your revenue from? Like,
Yeah, good question. So we also obviously do advertisement sales, and then we do have some donations, but the large majority, so the other 2/3 would be mainly advertisement dollars.
a couple years ago, the Daily used to send out a newspaper every day. When did that stop?
Yeah, so that would have stopped in 2020.
So why did you guys stop it?
Actually, that was a request from the student government at the time because they believed it wasn't a proper use of our fund or the funds that we were given, and we're hoping we transition more because printing is expensive and becoming more expensive. So they found students would probably prefer a more digital platform. And then in addition to that, when we made that transition, it was COVID. So it honestly probably worked for the betterment. We wouldn't have been able to do a print publication remotely.
Okay, I yield.
Vice Speaker Bruick?
So I don't have a question. I'm kind of roughing it on old contract stuff. In our archives, we do have a copy of the agreement from 2014 to 2017, and that agreement's maximum total funding was at $140,000. Unless there's anything else I may be missing, but that's in the same way that our current contract has a breakdown with a table that has final maximum at the 340. This one has a final maximum at 140. So to answer that question, that's the agreement that was in place at least from 14 to 17. And that's the most recent that we have in our archives.
Thank you for finding that. Appreciate it.
All right, is there any further questions for Kate or the Daily? All right, seeing none, thank you for coming. We'll probably have more discussions later, but thank you for coming.
Thank you. And if any of you have any further questions too, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you for your time.
All right, with that, we will move into open forum. Open forum is a time for students to bring concerns of the student body forward to us so we may hear it. Is there anybody here for open forum? If so, please approach the podium and state your name and major. Seeing no one here for open forum, we will move into adopting tonight's agenda.
Motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
There has been a motion and a second to adopt tonight's agenda. Is there any objection to doing so? Seeing none, tonight's agenda shall be adopted. We'll now move into the approval of last week's minutes. Is there any motion to do so?
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to approve last week's minutes. Is there any objection to doing so? Seeing none, they shall be approved. We'll now move into committee reports, starting with Vice Speaker Bruick.
Hey y'all, I have to do this week, so that's fun. So the Rules Committee met on Monday, and we, among a few other things, the first thing I have to report is that we did have a nonfeasance investigation. Excuse me, a nonfeasance investigation into Kush Patel. She had accrued 2 nonfeasances, and we have to have a hearing when that happens. We voted unanimously to report the violations as minor, so nothing else has to happen, but I am required to tell you that we had that investigation and reported it as minor. So we did that. We talked a little bit more about the bylaw rewrite, a few things there. Speaker Mahoney and I are hoping to have stuff like the actual tangible rewrite in your hands before spring break, preferably before that, but at the latest by spring break. And then we saw Senator Margrette's bill on the right to a responsible representative. We postponed that. We're looking to work on it in a different way. It's just we could not find a way for the current iteration of the bill to really make itself work, so we postponed that in committee and are looking for a way to maybe incorporate it somewhere else. Is that all I need?
Yeah, that's all.
And that's all we really had, so I yield.
All right, is there any questions for Rules Committee? All right, Finance with Director Claiborne.
Hello, everybody. First, I want to say, if I didn't tell you already, Happy Women's History Month for those of you that celebrate. So you had Claiborne's Cash Cow around 20 minutes ago. Just to clarify things on that. The funding recycling compactors was sent no bias. We didn't have one way or another. We just wanted to bring it in with discussion because it is a very big bill. Also allow Senator Engelking to kind of go deeper dive into the compactors. So, and then also she did send out information relating to those. So if you want to look at that, she'll definitely say that in her committee updates. So again, please have discussion on that. It is important to have discussions on those big of bills. Next, funding ISSA, the Iranian Students and Scholars Association, and Gymnastics Club were both sent favorably. The ISSA had a few amendments. Those are in new business, but we do need to waive first read, so please waive first read on those. Gymnastics needs to know by tomorrow if they can go, so they need the funding tomorrow. And then ISSA needs the funding this week so they can go through event auth, all that things, because their event is after spring break, but they have that window of spring break to get everything done. So they didn't need it as soon as possible just to make sure that they have everything in order. And then for annuals, we have 2 meetings left. So our last full meeting is this Sunday, noon to 6. We'll see the rest of our budgets, majority of them, just kind of finalizing the number that we want to go with into budget hearings. Sorry. And budget hearings will be next week on Tuesday, the 7th. Budget balancing is where organizations can come in after we pre-preliminary approve those and kind of just discuss what they want, why we're bringing them back, kind of decreasing funding or increasing funding if we want to. And then in that meeting is when we'll preliminary approve all of those so we can bring them to Senate. The big picture bill will be sometime the week before or week after spring break is when we'll introduce it. And then I'll also do a program coming up at a later date, kind of describing annuals as a whole, and then also within that, we'll also maybe have a working meeting just to describe the language that we have to use, because the only time, obviously we use Robert's Rules daily, every meeting, but we go into the nitty-gritty of Robert's Rules for annuals. It is a lot to take in, so if you are a new senator, please pay attention to that. I'll also give more information on bringing organizations to student in front of Senate if we do want them to come into Senate. There's one organization I do want to come to Senate just so we can have a conversation, but I'll explain that at a later date so all of you can see the budgets that they have, and then if you have any organizations you want to come to Senate, you can email me. That is all I have. Any questions?
All right, we'll now move on to PR with Director Haas.
Hi, everyone. So first off, the podcast. We are recording with Mayor Hala on Friday, and then March 9th will be the next podcast episode drop. Women's Day our Women's Day event is a week from today, March 8th, on Curtis Lawn. We also have sign-ups for that on the stugov.iastate.edu, so make sure you're signing up to help out with that event. And then we have our gaming tournament April 4th. We'll have more information about that later. We're also working on a business card project. And then for outreach, thank you for everyone that helped out with After Dark last Friday. And please let Sundar know, our Director of Outreach, Sundar Shivra, know if you've completed an outreach credit or both. And please sign up for to help out with the weekly podcast recap. We do need somebody to help with that today, so if you could. Senate recap. So please let Ethan know if you would like to help out with that for tonight. Thank you.
All right, do we have any questions for PR committee? Seeing none, we'll move on with the E&I committee with Senator Frencher.
Hello. So for both of our town halls, we're just getting everything finalized. I believe we still are looking for a vegan option for our funding event. So if anyone has any suggestions, let us know. And then the International Student Town Hall subcommittee is going to meet with the ISC and Director of International Student Experience on Saturday. And those are all our updates.
All right, any questions for PR or DE&I committee? All right, I'll move on to student initiatives with Senator Mays.
Hello. So we have 2 events coming up. So we thought we were going to have 3. If you remember last semester, we were planning a Take Back the Night event. We decided we still wanted to do a Sexual Assault Awareness Month event, but we recently had Green Dot come to one of our meetings and talk about everything that they were going to be doing for April. So we kind of have decided that instead we were going to have student initiatives, or if anybody in student government wants to participate, we want to work with them and host one of the events that is already being planned. So that's in the works. Otherwise, we have 2 events going through like rental event, all that kind of stuff right now, which is Wolves and Wellness is happening, as well as like an indoor game event. Obviously, none of these are cleared quite yet. They're still in the process of getting cleared, but if everything goes well. Wolves and Wellness would be Friday, March 31st from 9:30 to noon. And then the indoor game event would be Monday, April 3rd from 7 to like 10:30, 10. And those should be available for outreach credits. So if you are still needing your outreach credits by the end of the semester, these are 2 really fun events to get those at. And then the final thing I want to note is that we have done like the safety walk a lot in the past and things like that. And we are trying to get one thing running with Chris Strawhacker, which is having like ice detection kind of thing on the app. So if you wanted to get the ArcGIS app, and if we get another snowstorm or anything like that, or an ice storm, you're able to mark spots that are icier than other spots, just like noticeably like worse areas of campus. And it's like kind of being weird right now, but we're trying to fix the map and stuff with Chris. And then we're interested in potentially doing some sort of like just student government kind of like event thing where we try to do like a cleanup event around Campus Town. It wouldn't be like an official event, it would just be student government people. So we're gonna send a message in the Teams chat to see if anybody would be interested in doing kind of like a little cleanup thing around like Campus Town and areas where like a lot of students still traverse even though they're off campus. So yeah, that's about it, I think.
All right, is there any questions for Student Initiatives Committee? Seeing none, we will move on to Local Affairs with Senator Margaret.
Awesome. Well, hello, everyone. I just have a few quick updates about what happened at this past committee meeting. Local Affairs met this past Monday to sort of reevaluate what our priorities are, how we can take some more initiative and start some projects and things like that. So I'm excited for the direction we're going. Just as a note for anyone on the committee, we'll be meeting again this coming Monday at the normal 6 p.m. time. It's every other week right now. In terms of what projects we're looking at, we started brainstorming some outreach that we can do. We have this wonderful calendar of events that are happening in the city, but we don't have a way to disseminate it to students yet. We have obviously one of the greatest transportation systems for a town our size, so we really have no excuse from getting students out there, comfortable with engaging, things like that. So we're looking at how we can start doing some of that outreach. And the other idea that we floated around that we're sort of testing the waters on is maybe we could do a newsletter in terms of what happens in our local government, in our city council, that sort of thing. So if you're in student government, you want to be more aware if you're part of the student body. However we want to disseminate that, we're looking at that. And lastly, I wanted to mention we are hoping to confirm the nomination of another senator to our committee. I'm really excited for what he has to add, but that'll be later on. So if you have any ideas for our committee, please reach out to someone. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks.
All right, is there any questions for local affairs? Seeing none, we'll move on to Sustainability Committee with Senator Engelken.
Hello, hello. So Sustainapalooza tabling went pretty well. There's a lot of good conversations about Sustainability Committee and the Green Initiatives Fund, very exciting. We also passed a Green Initiative Fund for Women's Day, which is a PR event that was just talked about. So next Wednesday, be there. Saving the best for last, the trash compactor bill recycling compactor bill is up tonight. We have some representatives from Waste Committee, so hopefully they can answer all your questions. I also sent out just a Google Doc of all of the information that we've compiled all in one place. There's also some really good graphics on there. So hopefully that helps answer some questions, but also we have representatives to answer more questions. So yeah, I yield.
All right, is there any questions for Sustainability Committee? Seeing none, we will move on to Health and Wellness with Senator Kuehler.
Hello, everyone. Director Everest is not here, which is not something I say a lot. But health and wellness stuff is going well. Our website of resources, which is now called Cyclone Support, is now in partnership with Student Health as well as the Daily. We had a good discussion in committee today about the current mock-up of the website that the Daily provided. Kate was also at the meeting, which was pretty cool. Senator Kamstra's project with Narcan seems to be going well. He and Senator Slade intend to meet with Ryan Doyle, who works in student wellness, in the near future. The project led by Anna, she's one of our at-larges, is to increase awareness of student counseling services. So she wants to put advertisements in all of the SciRides and stuff like that. She also wants to work with student counseling to increase options such as telehealth, and they seem on board with it, so that's pretty cool. And lastly, Associate Justice Taylor's project of increasing physical well-being resources is going well as well. He'll be working with rec services about increasing awareness of student organizations which are physically active. And that's pretty much it.
All right, is there any questions for Health and Wellness Committee? Seeing none, we'll move on to comments from the judicial branch with Justice Taylor, if he has anything. Okay, seeing none, is there any questions for the judicial branch? With that, we'll move on to comments from the advisor with Sophie.
Hello, everybody. Not a lot of updates as of today, just two FYIs. Next week on the 7th and 8th is voting for the student government elections, FYI. And then also you have this meeting, the next meeting, spring break, and then 4 meetings until you're done with the session. So start thinking about wrapping some projects up, transition documents, leaving information for your predecessors. So if you'd like to talk about any of that, please let me know. I'm happy to help you get your thoughts onto paper or not paper, digitally, because it's 2023. So, but if you want to do paper, oh my gosh, wow, crazy, cool. That's it.
All right. With that, we'll move on to comments from the executive branch with Chief of Staff Roberts.
Hi, guys. This never happens. So currently, Vice President Ulrich, Director Philippi, Senator Becker, and Jacob Ludwig are on their way back from Big 12 on the Hill. The conference met with dozens of offices, and our Iowa State delegation met with all 6 members of the Iowa congressional delegation. All these conversations went positively, and there is significant support for maintaining the viability of Pell Grants, improving the FAFSA process, and tackling mental health challenges. Overall, they had an excellent few days, but they're very excited to come home to Ames, Iowa. Additionally, Ludwig and other chief officers have been working with the Daily regarding the expansion of their contract. You guys will receive that contract on first read next week. And finally, Ludwig's very scary countdown. You guys have 44 days left in your terms, so roll clones.
All right, is there any questions for the executive branch? Seeing none, we'll move on to our first order of business for the night, which is 2022-3-007F, funding solar-powered recycling compactors with Senator Engelken.
Hello, hello, it's me again. So I'm going to ask the representatives from Waste Committee to go up to the podium. It's basically a bill to fund solar-powered recycling compactors. There are the compactors, the decals for like the outside, and the cost of installation, which is like putting down the concrete if we want to put it like at a corner. So the Waste Subcommittee will talk more about it, but yeah, yield to you.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you all for coming in tonight. We're here on behalf of the Sustainability Committee, more specifically the Waste Subcommittee, to go ahead and get these trash compactors ranted. We spent about 5 months working with Director of Recycling Steve Coates and Mary Rankin to get this bill off the ground. And mainly what we're trying to do is to increase the amount of available recyclers on campus. As of right now, there's about, I want to say 15 recycling compactors and about 140 waste compactors. You can tell the difference because waste compactors are green, recycling is blue. And we believe this ratio should be a little bit more evened out, just to give students an opportunity to dispose a little bit more consciously. So about these compactors, they're 55-gallon, big-bellied. That's the name of the compactors themselves, big-bellied compactors. They're capable of detecting when they're getting to their full capacity, and then they'll compact. And when they reach capacity, they will talk with FP&M about disposing of the waste. The recyclers that we're working with tonight are capable of talking amongst FP&M. Some of the older recyclers are not capable of that, but that's what we want to impose on campus at the moment. I believe. Yes, well, we, if you guys do have the document in front of you, we did also want to update the graphics on our composters as well. A lot of them from the original batch do not convey the proper disposal techniques that we'd want our students to be an advisement for when recycling. So we did take the liberty of updating the new decals, which is also on docket tonight. And if you're wondering why we're just requesting 10 compactors and about 30 decals, that is to replace some of the older, some of the original compactors that do not convey the updated decals. And we have about 7 different locations that we want to put these compactors on. We worked with Cyride to find some of the busiest locations. And we also confirmed that with Steve Coates just to make sure that we're putting them in the right areas. He gave us a nice heat map at the bottom of this document, which, while it is helpful, it does not convey the possibility of how busy that place will be for our recycling compactors. These are current numbers for how often these compactors are unloaded. So we plan on putting them in locations that would be optimal for students in high traffic areas as well. So we have about 7 locations set up. The 3 extra will be placed in a storage location down near the ice rink, and these will be available to future sustainability members that wish to place them around campus if we do find another busy location that does need or require a recycling compactor. All right, and I'll take any questions.
All right, we'll now open the floor to debate, starting with Senator Cecil.
I just want to reiterate that I see the value and I appreciate all the work you have done, but in the document that was sent out with all your research, I don't see any statistics on like how often we actually gain a recyclable product, and it doesn't just have to go to waste. I know that can be an issue when recycling, just by people throwing the wrong thing in and creating a mess. Have you done any research on that? Is there any like statistics we could see on that?
We have spoken about this to Steve Coates, who's the director of recycling on campus. And as we said before, the more students see recycling on campus, the more they would want to learn about it. And it is a way of promoting recycling on campus as well. And recycling is done on campus every Tuesdays. So yes, recycling is done on campus, and just the more recycling compactors we have, the more recycling is going to be done on campus, is what we believe in.
All right, Senator Kuehler.
Hi, thanks for coming out tonight. I have two questions, one quick one. The first one is just me kind of like blanking out for a minute, but how many recycling compactors did you say we had or have now? If you said we have any, sorry.
We currently have 15 on campus.
Okay, thank you very much. And then my second question is, how long will they be expected to last? Because I believe, to my understanding, we purchased them back in 2016, so that would be about 6 years. Is that correct? And would that change at all with these?
So I believe there was, gosh, I had to make this all complicated, didn't I? I believe there were 2 different batches, one that came before 2016, and off the top of my head, I want to say they were 2013 batch, and those are still in serviceable condition at the moment. So they do last a long time, but we would like to update their decals because they haven't been touched ever since.
Yeah, that's great. I was under the impression they were all installed in 2016, so that's even better. Thank you. I yield.
Senator Gopa.
Thank you for coming out, first of all. Where does the trash go, all of this recyclable waste and the waste in general?
So it depends. There is a landfill in Ankeny. That's where the waste goes, and it also goes, the recycling, for example, it goes to a company in Des Moines, wherein they use the waste, like the recyclable things, that is where they convert it to small, minute, like forms of plastic or something. Like, I'm not pretty sure, but it does go to Des Moines, and it is further processed and which can be used again. So that is where the recyclable goes, if that's a question.
What if someone throws, let's say, waste into that recycling bin because they kind of look similar? Like, what if I throw, an apple peel into the...
So that is why we want to change the decals as well, because they're more descriptive and they show that what can be thrown into the compactor and what cannot be. So that is one way which we could avoid it with. And later again, there will be processing which would be done later. So,
at the moment, you guys are asking for only 30 decals, 3 for each trash can. What about the old trash cans?
So for now, 10 will be for the new compactors that will be coming in, which will be the recycling ones. And for now, from the information that we have received from Steve Coates, there are approximately 39 which have to be changed because there are scratches or they're faded or have peeled off. So accordingly, we have ordered for the rest, we've proposed like the rest 20 for those.
Why can't we convert some of these waste compactors into recycling bins?
Because the waste compactors are widely used on campus, and the ones that are being used now, they are efficient and they are needed on campus. So the recycling ones have to be increased.
How many would you approximate we need? How many more do we need for the campus to have 100% efficiency in recycling and
For
waste?
recycling. So we thought of increasing them by 10 because we thought that after seeing how these 10 are used, that's how we would evaluate or order more accordingly by receiving more data from FPNM.
Okay, and on the bill it says we're paying for 7 cost of installations. What does that mean exactly?
That is because there are 7 positions that have been decided for the placement of these compactors, and there is an installation cost to put these up. So that is what the installation cost is.
So you have 10 of them. So what about the other 3?
Yes, the other 3, they would be put up in storage, as Grayson mentioned before, just in case one goes down, or if the future committee knows or thinks there is another, or they find another placement for a compactor.
What are the statistics of them being cleared out? Like, are they cleared out every couple days or?
So there is a system wherein it detects, or it is, I think, told to shadow. Yeah, that's there is a system which connects, and it just kind of signals when it's full. So that's when they are cleared out.
Yeah, what is the average time period for it being collected?
It just depends on the location. It depends how busy a location is, and accordingly it is cleared out. So if it's an extremely busy one, then maybe it could be a couple of days, or if it's somewhere where there is not much crowd, then it would be comparatively less. It just depends on the location.
If it's every couple days, why can't we keep normal trash cans in the places where we need it?
That is because these ones, if it is just a normal trash can, then these do not have the system of the trash being compressed. So the more they want to clear it out, the more fuel is going to be used. So which is another way that we can, save up on fuel and maybe less of pollution. So that is why these compactors are pretty efficient.
Let's say in the winter months when there's not enough sunlight, there's snow on the solar panels. It's not going to be very efficient then, right?
They still are.
30 seconds.
30 seconds, okay. Have you guys negotiated fees on this, and can you get bigger trash cans?
These are very efficient, and our Iowa State has been using them for years now, and so these can be trusted. And since all of them use the same system, it will be good to have the same company which would have the same system as well.
I yield. Thank you.
All right, Senator Dre.
My question is about the 3 compactors that are going to be in the warehouse and storage. And I was just wondering why we needed to put funding towards them now and couldn't just have a bill come over later where you guys buy new ones.
So it's cheaper to buy in bulk. And since we had 7 locations already prepared, we didn't want to feel like we had to forcibly place 3 more locations. So we're just going to put them in storage and either use them for future use or use them to replace any currently on campus that have been damaged from snow removal or anything like that.
Okay, and then my other question was the installation fee for the 3 that are in storage then. Will you guys have to come back and request more money for that when they need to be installed?
I don't believe so. I believe it covers most of it, if not all. Mostly the installation fees for a grounding of cement, placement of bolts, should take no more than 2 weeks to put them in. So I can't foresee any types of disruption that would draw away from or add to the cost of that. It's a pretty simple installation.
All right, thank you guys.
Vice Speaker Brewick.
Hey guys, thanks for coming out, and I think this is a really important bill. I guess I did have a question. It's been asked a couple times, and I'm just not hearing an answer that I guess addressed what my concern with my one question has kind of been, and it's cool if you don't know, I get it, there's stuff that's hard to know, but it feels like it's been asked a couple times, is if there are issues where people put a bunch of trash in a recycling bin, I understand that we are trying to put education on it that makes it clear that this is a recycling bin, but do you guys know what happens to that recycling if there's now trash, there's waste mixed in? I think it's been asked a couple times, and if you don't know the answer, that's fine, but I just hadn't heard an answer that really satisfied me for that.
When this trash is cleared out, I think that's when they would deal with it, and I think that's when they would remove the contaminated ones. So I think that's how it works.
Senator Margaret.
Hey guys, thanks for coming out. Apologies if I missed this at some point in your presentation, just for my own sake. That 2.5% discount for the compactors, is that just the bulk that you talked about?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. That was my only question, and then I'd just like to voice my support for this because I think this is a really important cause, and I would hope that we would invest in it. So I yield.
All right. Is there any further discussion on this bill? There has been a call to question in a second. Is there any objection to voting now? Seeing none, we will move into a roll call vote as this is a funding bill. We will start with, you can answer yes, no, or abstain. We will start with Senator Ogba. Yes. Senator Braun. Yes. Vice Speaker Brewick.
Yes.
Senator Burks. Yes. Senator Cecil.
Abstain.
Senator Dirk.
Yes.
Senator Eisma.
Yes.
Senator Anglican. Senator Eaton.
Yes.
Senator Frencher. Gopa.
Abstain.
Hackbarth.
Yes.
Heidenreich. Holliday.
Yes.
Kamstra.
Yes.
Kuehler.
Yes.
Margaret.
Yes.
Mays. Schnepf.
Yes.
Slade.
Yes.
Slater.
Yes.
Tansey. Topete.
Yes.
And Vo.
Yes.
With a vote of 20 to 0 to 4, the bill passes.
Thank you.
All right, with that, we will move on to internal matters special orders, 2022-3-018 SC, confirming the nomination for ex officio to the Ames City Council with Vice Speaker Brewick.
Hi, so Tabby, if you want to go up to the podium, President Ludwig and Vice President Ulrichs have nominated Tabby Etten to be our new ex officio to replace our now departed ex officio Garmin. I'll let her speak to her qualifications and let her go.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tabby Eaton, and I'm the current Human Sciences Senator. I'm applying for this role for a few reasons. One is that I fulfilled a similar role in high school for 3 years, where I was our school district representative. So exactly how this role is, I was a non-voting member of our town city council, and I was there to represent our student voices for our school district. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to meet the mayor about the expectations and responsibilities of this role, and we also discussed the importance of a voice in city council. We currently make up 40% of our Ames population, which means that currently 40% of the Ames population is not being represented at a local level. I also had the opportunity to stand in at city council last night, and it was a very welcoming and exciting experience, and it further proved that this is a role that I'm really excited about. I'm currently a sophomore, which means I would be able to continue this role in the future, and I do have a full-time internship in Boone, Iowa, so I will be in the area to fulfill this role over the summer. I spend more time in Ames than I do in my hometown, and because of that, I have grown to love and respect this community, and I firmly believe in this, that our town deserves a voice to represent us since we do live here. I feel I am the best candidate for this position because of my prior knowledge and passion for this community. Iowa State only has jurisdiction on what happens on campus grounds, which means everything else is decided by City Council. and I aspire to be that voice to advocate for the students outside of university grounds. Ames has truly become my home, and I'm ready to serve this community. Thank you.
All right, we will now open into discussion, starting with Senator Tansey.
Yeah, so I just want to encourage all senators to vote in favor of this nomination. Earlier today, I talked to some of you about a potential no vote or abstention. That was strictly on the basis of nothing to do with the nominee. I think he'll be great. I love what you're saying. I was not a fan of a nominee being sent to Ames City Council last night. I think if we're going to send somebody to represent us, we want to make sure that they're confirmed to do the role, if that makes sense. And with that, I do have a few questions, if that's all right. Okay. Do you have any goals or projects you want to work on?
While this position isn't heavy on projects, one goal I do have is to provide more resources for education for students. So one idea is a newsletter or potentially a social media for a local affairs committee or ex officio position in collaboration to provide another resource for students to be more educated about what happens in their local community.
Okay. And then Senator Margaret has done a great job as acting chair of the committee, and he talked about some ideas that we've talked about in our past meeting. Would you be open to some of those?
Of course. I have been speaking with Senator Margaret for a couple weeks now about it and about some of your guys' goals, and I'm very excited about a few of them that they do have. I apologize, I can't speak off the top of my head right now,
No,
but
you're good.
yes, I am very excited to be a part of local affairs committee as well.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I urge a yes vote. I yield.
All right, Senator Kuehler.
I'm going to ask the same question that I've asked to all of the nominees in the past few weeks here. I love the projects you mentioned. I think they're great. The one question I do have is, given that we are coming up on the end of the term here, how would you go about prioritizing those projects with the limited amount of time we have left?
Since I was able to speak with the mayor yesterday, he has been able to communicate me with some of the projects, including the joint meeting, and he has communicated with me how we are going to lead that and how he would like me to see, how he would like that to be seen done. So I've already been able to discuss that with the mayor. That is the big project that will be part of the rest of this term. And then anything else will be for the next term that I am hoping to serve on, but will be for the next term.
Okay, thank you very much. I yield.
Senator Mays.
I just realized that this is probably a really silly question since we really only have like a month and a half left of our terms, but I know Human Sciences Senator was a really hard spot to fill. Have you tried to seek out potentially a replacement or anything like that, or anybody within your college to potentially fill the Senate seat and maybe get some leadership experience before we pass into the new Senate?
I actually have. I have spoken to the Human Sciences Council about how I will no longer fill this position if I am elected into this position. They do currently have a person interested in the role as well. And I also have close connections with the Future Teachers Education Association, who also do have some interest in the role, even though there is a very short term left. I do understand that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you.
Senator Hackbarth.
Hi, so Senator Keeler, Director Everest, Student Wellness, and the ISU and I, we are all working on a website for resources across the city of Ames, across the college, and across the university. How familiar are you with Ames programs that might benefit students?
I don't have a super in-depth understanding, I will say that point blank, but last night I was able to start learning about some of the conversations they have with their mental health initiatives as well as their climate action change. Their survey for Ames residents is going out soon, and I was able to sit in on that discussion of what's going to be in place for that, and they are having a large focus on low-income families as well as their mental health initiatives and their climate action change. And I'm very excited about those and very excited to learn more about those and present those to student government.
Senator Gopa?
Why did you decide to choose the role? Like, it's been open for a couple of weeks. Why now?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I was ready for this role, I will be honest. And while I do have experience in the past, I just wasn't sure if it was right for me. And after speaking with several members of student government, I honestly was like, I have nothing to lose if I do apply. And since I was able to overcome that personal hurdle, it has been something that I have been very passionate about for the past couple weeks now.
I yield.
Senator Holliday?
I just want to first reiterate support for Tabby, or currently Senator Ed Eaton. She is absolutely amazing and a very dedicated person, and I know that she will most definitely fulfill this role if she is presumed confirmed in tonight. And next, I'd like to yield the rest of my time over to Chief of Staff Roberts.
Hi, I just want to take a moment to address what was a valid and feeling about sending Tabitha to City Council last night. That was a decision made by President Ludwig, Vice President Ulrich, and myself. That was not a decision, one, made by Tabitha Eaton. She doesn't have that ability as a non-confirmed candidate. What we do, though, owe the city is we've had a lot of turnover in this position, and the city has really asked us that the next applicant or the next nomination we put up is, one, very interested in the role and here for hopefully a long time, depending on the future of the organization. So we did, with Ludwig being out, he has been serving as a representative because he's already had a pre-established relationship. We thought that this was a chance for Tabitha to be sure, one, that this was something she'd be interested in pursuing, but two, that we also like to receive the mayor's approval on our candidate for ex officio. So this was one way to go ahead and ensure that the candidate we put in front of you today was one that the mayor and city council were also comfortable spending the year with. And so I do understand those feelings. And if you have more questions, that's absolutely something I'd be glad to answer. But last night was not a decision made by Tabitha Eaton. It was a decision made by the leaders of the executive branch.
Senator Margaret?
Hi, everyone. Just a few quick things I wanted to address. I won't talk too long. Firstly, I am in that boat. I do disagree with the decision to send a very publicly facing representative out before we've had the chance to confirm them as a Senate, just because I think that's, while I do believe in you as a candidate, it's a weird precedent to me to set. So I disagree with that, but that obviously doesn't reflect on you as a candidate. That wasn't your decision. Secondly, I would ask you, you've talked about some projects and stuff that you want to do, and I think that's great, and we've talked a little bit. My question, I guess, is had you considered involvement with the committee before this role? I know we've had very limited meetings recently, but I want to prioritize the committee. I've said this before, but the committee has more than just an administrative arm of the ex officio. I want it to be its own thing with its own ambition and projects.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just curious if you'd considered involvement before this role and if you'd considered coming to any meetings.
I did. Unfortunately, the meetings do conflict with another conflict, but I have talked to the people who are in charge of that conflict, and they are able, moving forward, to let me attend those meetings. I just wasn't able to this semester because of when they are, but I was very interested because I do have a great connection with the Ames community and my previous experience with the connection of my hometown as well.
Awesome. Well, I just wanted to make sure I voiced that because I think that's a really important direction that we're moving. I would say I very much like the fact that you would be serving for a long time. We have talked about turnover a lot, and having some stability and institutional knowledge there is great. Lastly, I would just say I plan to abstain not as a reflection of any positive or negative judgment on you as a candidate, just because of its proximity to the role that I'm kind of filling half of right now. So I'm just explaining my reasoning for that, and I don't want to influence how you all vote. So with that, I yield. Thank you.
All right. Is there any further discussion on this bill? There has been a call to question and a second. Is there any objection to voting now? Seeing none, we will move into a placard vote. All those in favor, please raise your placard. All right, any noes? And any abstentions? All right, with a vote of 21-0 to 2, the bill passes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I move to waive Senate Rule 3.12.2.2.
There has been a motion and a second to waive Senate Rule 3.1.2.2, which governs how many members of the local affairs there are set aside for senators. And there has been a second. Is there any objection entering discussion upon that? Seeing none, discussion is now open. There has been a call to question and a second to vote to waive the requirement that there only be, I believe, 5 seats on the Senate or on the local affairs committee for senators. Is there any objection to voting now? Seeing none, UC has been called for. Is there any objection to waiving that rule by way of unanimous consent? Seeing none, it shall be waived. We'll now move into the bill as a whole, which is 2022-3-017 SG, confirming the nomination of a senator to the local affairs committee with Senator Margaret.
Awesome. Well, hi again, everybody. Congratulations to now ex officio Eden. I'm looking forward to working with you on that. Thank you all for waiving that bylaw. That's exactly the same thing we did to appoint me. So again, we'll be at 6 members instead of 5, which was technically the cap. So it's a very reasonable thing, but I appreciate it. So the candidate can now approach the podium if you want to say a few words. But I want to just go ahead and voice my support for Senator Braun. He shared a lot of great ideas with me about where we're going to take the committee, and I don't want to take those away by giving them away now. But I think he's very qualified for the role, and I hope you'll vote yes. Thank you. So I yield to you.
Thank you. After speaking to Senator Kuehler about a month ago when I was planning on running for Student Senate, when he talked about the Local Affairs Committee, that one was the one I really wanted to maintain my position of running for senator. I plan to be very highly proactive with this position. I am very eager to work with everyone that's involved. I'm very eager to work with everyone outside of the student gov. I really want to expand this position more or less outside of student gov because it is a bigger issue than, or the local affairs issues are bigger than just student gov. It is bigger than just student council. It is everyone that's in Ames as a whole. And I want to, 1, expand outreach, and 2, just have more meetings with more officials, trying to figure out a good game plan of where to take this in the future as this the local affairs committee continues to going on. And then also with being on local affairs committee, there is another committee that I have to be on for the just for the committee, and I plan to run for the campus and community commission. After talking to Senator Margaret, I believe this is the one that I can really show that I have my true potential of really helping out with the Ames community. Thank you.
All right, we will now enter into discussion. Senator Agba? Senator Hackbarth.
I personally just want to throw my support behind Eric. I remember you coming to Rules Committee and you were so passionate about local affairs. He had so many projects and so many ideas about engagement and getting people involved, and I think he'd be a perfect fit for this role. I yield.
Senator Agba?
Echoing that, I had liked a lot of what you said during Rules, and a lot of you seem to have been pretty active with local affairs with your time as well as in high school, and I would also like to vote yes. I yield.
All right. Is there any further discussion on this item? There has been a call to question and a second. Is there any objection to voting now? Because I've been forgetting, Senator Margaret, do you have any closing comments? All right, UC has been called for. Is there any objection to approving this bill by way of unanimous consent? I can't talk. Seeing none, congratulations, this bill passes. All right, we'll now move into new business, starting with 2022-3-009F with Senator Patel is not here, so Senator Tansey. All right, there has been a motion to waive first read on this bill. Is there a second? All right, there's a second. Is there any objection entering, or is this a? All right, is there any objection to, is there any objection to waiving first read? Seeing none, we'll consider it as read first. We're now on second read.
Yeah, so as a representative for ISSA comes up, again, if you do look at the bill, this is for catering. First, obviously, there are amendments on the screen, so please, if you have any questions regarding those, please let me know. But this is just for a catering event for their big night that they have for ISSA. Last year, they had 250 people. Again, 250 times 8 is that 2,000. We'll have the representative kind of talk about what the event is and why they're requesting funding. If you do have any questions, please feel free to ask.
So should I explain the? Yeah, okay. So the event is like the biggest holidays in Iran, and we celebrate it as our New Year, which this year has been different because of all the things happening in Iran and the trauma that we are going through. So this year we really want to have it, even though it's been hard for us and we didn't have the association running from the start of the semester. So we would like to have this event for our community to just gather together and have at least our own support and kind of share, because this event is also open to all other students. We want to kind of have the opportunity to talk to others and about what we think, what we like others to know about what's happening in Iran, and just share our feelings and also our culture. So should I go through the expenses as well? Or?
All right, we will now enter into discussion, starting with Senator Slade. All right, there has been a motion to approve the Finance Committee amendments. Is there any objection to doing so? Seeing none, they shall be approved. Back on discussion on the bill as a whole. There has been a call to question and an objection. Do you withdraw? Senator Tansey?
Years ago, like I think it's been 5 years that they are having this event.
And do you know how many people attended that event?
200, almost 200. I'm not sure because actually I'm just new, but
Okay.
yeah. But it's like the biggest event, and many all the Iranians are actually excited about it, and it's also open to other students. So
And to clarify that, this $2,000, that's strictly for food, or?
yeah, that's for food.
Okay.
All right, is there any further discussion on this bill? There has been a call to question in a second. Is there any objection to voting now? Seeing none, Senator Tansey, do you have any closing comments? All right, with that, we will move into a roll call vote, as this is a finance bill. Starting with Agba. Braun? Yes. Bruick?
Yes.
Burks? Yes. Cecil? Yes. Dre? Yes. Eisma? Yes. Engelken? Yes. Eaton? Never mind. Frencher? Azrite, or Gopa? Yes. Hackbarth? Yes. Heidenreich? Yes. Holliday? Yes. Kamstra? Yes. Kuehler? Yes. Margaret? Yes. Mays? Yes. Schnepf? Yes. Slade? Yes. Slater? Yes. Tansy? Topete? And Vo? With a vote of 23 to 0, this bill passes.
Thank you.
All right. We'll now move into 2022-3-010F, Funding Rodeo Club with Senator Eisma.
Hello, there we go. Hi, everybody. This is funding the Rodeo Club. They host an annual student-run rodeo called the Cyclone Stampede in the spring every year. 2,000 people attended last year, so I believe this is a pretty regular bill that we have every year. And I can answer yes or no questions.
Is there any questions of intent for Senator Eisma? Senator Kamstra?
Is there anything different on this bill from last year?
Yes.
I yield.
Is there any other questions? Seeing none, we will move on to 2022-3-011F with Senator Eisma.
Hi again. This is funding AMMO, which is the Agricultural Marketing Management Organization. Need to have adequate funding in order to attend a conference and asking for more fund transfers. And once again, I can answer yes or no questions.
Is there any questions for Senator Eisma? Seeing none, we will move on to 2022-3-012F, Funding Gymnastics Club with Senator Tansy.
Yep, so this is a bill for the gymnastics club, and they're looking to go to a competition. You. Oh, I'm going to move to waive first read on that.
There has been a motion and a second to waive first read. Is there any objection to doing so? Seeing none, we will consider it as read. We'll now open into second read. All right.
If the representatives for Gymnastics Club want to go up at the podium, so they'll kind of just explain why they are A, requesting funding, and B, why we're waiving first read. They are a very new organization, which is amazing. So if you do have any questions related to the Gymnastics Club, obviously this event, just feel free to ask. And then you can kind of just explain what you're requesting and then also why we need to waive first read.
Okay. So we are a new club as of this school year, and we are trying to attend nationals, which is at the end of March, which we obviously have never done before. The individual fees for each member to attend are $190, and then it's also in Memphis. So we'd be using the university vehicles to drive there. Is that it?
All right. Is there any questions or debate? Senator Kamstra.
So how many members do you guys have overall as an organization?
Overall, we have 22 members, and we have 6 members interested in attending nationals.
Okay, that was my second question, so
Yep.
that's awesome. When do you guys meet?
Wednesdays from 7:30 to 9:30 in Beyer Hall.
Okay, is that in the gymnastics
Yes.
like area? That's awesome. And then you guys aren't affiliated with the team, correct?
No.
Okay. Okay, that was like interesting. So, yeah, I yield.
Senator Hackbarth.
Hi, okay, so we have a lot of different sports clubs here at campus, and obviously there is a risk with any physical activity. Have you informed your members of physical risks? Have they signed waivers, and is everything basically safe for these members to go?
Yeah, each member signs a waiver at the beginning of the semester, as well as pay a fee in order to use the gymnasium. And yeah, they also have to sign a waiver anytime they compete at a meet as well.
Senator Gopa.
This question is for Finance Director Claiborne. why is the quantity 1,252 for the cost of 0.56 per quantity?
Yeah, so for travel, the quantity is the amount of miles. So that is from Ames to Memphis and back at the lowest mileage. And then the 56 cents is the lowest vehicle configuration, and the lowest vehicle configuration that is a compact car that seats 7. So we just did that for 6.
Okay, I yield.
All right. Is there any further discussion? There has been a call to question and a second. Is there any objection to voting now? Senator Tansey, do you have any closing comments? Seeing none, we will move into a roll call vote as this is a finance bill. We will start with Senator Agba. Yes. Senator Braun. Yes. Vice Speaker Bruick. Yes. Senator Burks. Yes. Cecil. Yes. Dre. Yes. Eisma. Yes. Engelken. Yes. Frencher. Yes. Gopa. Hackbarth. Yes. Heidenreich. Yes. Holliday. Yes. Kamstra. Yes. Kuehler. Yes. Margret. Yes. Mays. Yes. Schnepp. Yes. Slade. Yes. Slater. Yes. Tansey. Yes. Topete. Yes. And Vo. Yes. With a vote of 23 to 0, this bill passes. All right. Seeing no more business for the night, we'll move into closing announcements. Does anybody have any closing announcements? Senator Gopa. Director Shivraj.
Hello. So I want to extend a thank you to everyone who helped out at After Dark on Friday. Very successful event. We had lots of fun. I just want to let you guys know that for those of you that have not sent me a text or email about outreach credits, if you do have those pending, please send those to me so I can update my schedules and update my trackers so that way you guys can get credit for the things you guys are doing. Also, I've updated the MIS with a couple of events that are going on. Women's Day is happening next Thursday, and then we have After Dark and Wolves and Wellness both on the 31st. So please sign up for those things. As you know, when you will be available for those things, we could use all the help that we can get. As well as please sign up for the Senate recap. We do have a person for this week and next week, but every week afterwards is currently not filled. And the more people we can get to kind of, tell about what's going on here in Senate, the better. So please sign up for those. Thank you.
Senator Mays.
Okay, so this is kind of weird. So I am a communication studies student, and I am doing my research seminar to graduate, and I chose student government to study. So I created a Qualtrics form. It is currently getting cleared by my professor, but it kind of is just going to ask you guys some questions just generally about student government, and it's gonna give me answers relating to a theory. And I need a lot of people to do it. Pretty much every single person in StuGov has to do it, or I won't have enough data, and then I'll do bad in the class. So that should be coming out hopefully this week. So if you guys could both encourage people in your committees to do it, encourage each other to do it, everything like that. I probably will be messaging multiple times until I get to how many people I need. I technically need 100, but if it's not 100, that's okay. But I'm gonna try to do as good as I can, so please help me out. And yeah, just keep an eye out for that. Thank you.
All right. We will go with Chief of Staff Roberts.
Perfect. I just want to say, as Sophie said, student government elections are next week, March 7th and 8th. If you're running for Senate, good luck. But if you're running unopposed, or if you are leaving and nobody is running for your college or your residence halls, please start working with either your constituency councils, your residence councils, and just start asking around to ensure that we have senators also to fill those seats next year. Coming from you, it will do a lot more than coming from anything from Election Commission, anything we could ever do. Coming personally from you, telling somebody that they'd be an excellent senator will make all the difference and will help us fill Senate faster for this next year.
Director Haas.
Hi everyone. I didn't say this in my update, but I'm working on a committee showcase project. So look out for an email from me if you are a committee chair or a vice chair. Thank you.
Director Claiborne?
Yeah, so reflecting off of what Chief of Staff Roberts said, elections are next week. You'll see a lot of us running around tabling, giving out buttons. So if you do have any questions, relate that to all the candidates who are running. And then also specifically for finance. So again, as I said earlier, our last full meeting is this Sunday. I will, after that meeting and after our budget balancing, I will give out the names of organizations to kind of so you can see who we are funding. And if you want to, I will also give kind of instructions on how to look at their budgets because all of you can look at the budgets for this year. So I will hand that out, send that out to all of student government. I'll also, hopefully, maybe I might just do like a small informal thing, reserve a room where, or I'll give out a time for office hours. So if any of you have questions relating to any of those budgets, you know where I am at specific time and date. Just as I'm working on getting the whole big picture built together so you can ask questions. And then also I'll be working with Speaker Mahoney and Vice Speaker Bruick, kind of establishing a date that I will have a program for. And before then, I'll kind of send out a quick survey to see what questions you do have relating to annuals, because I think if you all know kind of the process, it will go a lot smoother because it is a very, very big deal, very long process. But I want all of you to be prepared so it can go as smooth as possible, have great discussion without having to extend debate by an X amount each time. So please be on the lookout for emails from me relating to those. If you do have any questions relating to any of that, please let me know. And then also later in March, I'm working with the Diversity Inclusion Committee to have a town hall for specifically finances. Obviously, that's their own thing. I'm just going to be there and present. If you do have any questions relating to that, please ask them. And if they don't know the answer to that, please relate those questions to me. A great opportunity for students to know what goes on, and I'm very happy that Diversity Inclusion Committee is doing that. So again, if you do have any questions relating to any of the finances, any timeline for allocations, please let me know. We're almost done, and if you ask a question after the fact, it will be it won't be good, sorry. So again, please ask questions. I'm open to discussing them because I think talking about budgets openly is very important for student government. Any questions?
All right, Senator Gopa.
So the Iowa State Blood Drive team is holding their spring blood drive. It's happening in the Memorial Union in the Great Hall from 10 p.m. to 5 p.m. through March 6th and through 8th. You can get a free t-shirt and a $10 gift card. That sounds pretty interesting. Donate blood. The deadline for SciStarters, the 11-week summer accelerator program for entrepreneurship, the deadline's coming up next Friday. So if you're really interested in entrepreneurship and want to stay in Ames for the summer and work on your startup, well, apply for SciStarters, and I yield. Thank you.
All right, real quick before I pass it over to our acting vice speaker and speaker. Oh, Senator Slade.
Yeah, so if anyone is free on April 15th, that's a Saturday, if anyone's free from like 8 to 12 on the Saturday morning, the Collegiate Recovery Community at Iowa State is putting on a 4K, and it's kind of similar to the Green Dot Trot, and it'll be on campus, but we do need some volunteers or some participants. So if you want to help hand out water, like water bottles, or just participate in the event, I would love support from student government. So if you have interest in that, send me an email.
All right. Two real quick things. As everyone said, voting's next week. I would encourage you to talk to people around you, especially to vote yes on the constitutional amendment that will ensure our court continues to work. I would hope, considering we passed it in here almost unanimously, I think, or did pass it unanimously. Also with that, like I said, we don't have a lot of candidates running this year, so there's in a lot of constituencies, write-ins will bring some seats. So if you have friends that are interested, probably only need a couple there to have a serious chance of winning a seat. So if anybody has friends that are interested, I encourage you to talk to people, talk to your constituents, and see if anybody else would be interested in running as a write-in. Also with that, as Vice Speaker Bruick said earlier, the rules of order and the bylaws are coming along pretty well. We do want to get them in your hands soon, though, so look out for that in the next week or so. I want to make sure all of you can start to look at them before spring break. Since I have nothing else, I'll pass it over to Acting Vice Speaker Kuehler.
Man, that was quite the slurry of closing announcements, but I'll keep this brief. I am, if you remember from last semester, Acting Speaker Bruick did create a softball league, the Ludwig Lovers, and we did not win a single game. We didn't perform that great, but it was fun. It was really fun. But I kind of want to do a similar thing, not softball this time, but I'm considering starting a volleyball team. So if any of you are interested, please reach out to me, text me. You can message me on Discord. My Discord is in the MIS, so there you go. You can also email me if I didn't say that already, and that's pretty much it. I yield.
Acting Speaker Bruick.
Feels nice. It feels nice. Dream to this day. I don't have too much other than to reiterate, there's not a lot of people running for Senate, so, you know, tell people to run as write-ins they can. If you're at home, please, you can run right now, just write yourself in. And conversely, if you want to write someone in as a joke, don't, they might win. And that's going to be kind of awkward, so. But yeah, seriously, you can write. Write-ins can definitely win in this election. So you know, if you're interested, just even on a whim, try it. You can decline if you win, so just do it. It'd be very cool. As for my duties as Vice Speaker, I have some stuff planned for talking about for new senators. We're gonna do some stuff like so we all know the working meetings I had. We're gonna do some of those preferably in the transition period for new senators, rather than, you know, in the middle of the second session, so people are getting introduced to Senate when they're coming into Senate for the first time, as opposed to already in Senate. So that's big on the horizon. Speaker Mahoney and I are gonna hopefully drop the bylaw rewrite soon. Volleyball is cool. Oh, and I almost forgot. Since I'm now the speaker, I have to inform you guys of my impending birthday. It is in 248 days, so yeah, please don't clap, I don't deserve it, but I just thought you should know. Rude. Move to adjourn, go Cyclones.
All right, with this, the meeting is adjourned at 7:33.